Let's dive into this really powerful idea from entrepreneur Arlan Hamilton. It's a total game changer, a strategy for building real value and success, especially if you're starting out with, basically nothing in your bank account.
We've all heard this a million times, right? It's that classic piece of financial advice. The whole idea that you need to have capital to create more capital, that your assets are supposed to be out there working for you, making more money.
And that's the big question, isn't it? I mean, what are you supposed to do when you're starting from absolute scratch? When you have no assets to put to work, it can feel like you're stuck on the outside looking in. But what if there was another door?
This is where Arlan Hamilton's idea just flips the whole script. It's a brilliant counter-argument. If you can't own the asset, you have to become the asset. It's a completely different way of looking at things, and it turns that old wisdom on its head.
Okay, so here's the fundamental difference. The old way says you need money to get ahead, but this new way, it says you leverage knowledge. The only thing you need is a relentless drive to learn. You work on yourself until you are the thing people want to invest in.
The currency you're actually building here is called intellectual capital. It's everything you know, your expertise, your skills, the information you've totally mastered. When you don't have money, this becomes your most powerful tool. And honestly, Arlan Hamilton's story is the perfect example of how it's done.
So this sounds good, but how does it actually play out in the real world? Well, this isn't just some nice theory. Arlan Hamilton literally lived this. Her story is pretty much the ultimate proof that this strategy works.
And you have to understand, Arlan wasn't just starting from zero. She was starting from way, way behind. We're talking broke, at times even homeless, and with no college degree. I mean, just about every possible obstacle was in her way.
So what did she do? For 3 straight years, she went on this intense mission of self-education. She just devoured everything she could find on Silicon Valley and venture capital. And think about how resourceful you have to be, using Wi-Fi at friends' houses and hotel lobbies. She even ended up living in an airport just so she could get free internet access. That is some serious dedication.
This was not some casual hobby for her. She was completely and totally obsessed. For years, she was her own mentor, just relentlessly building her intellectual capital, one article and one podcast at a time. That right there is what it really means to become the asset.
So, what happens when all that hard work, all that knowledge you've built up, finally runs into an opportunity? Well, this is where the story gets really, really good. After all those years of learning, she didn't just go get a job in the industry she was studying. Oh no, she went out and built her own piece of it. She founded Backstage Capital, a venture capital firm with a very specific mission. And check out this number. Backstage Capital has invested in over 200 different businesses. 200! And every single one is led by a founder who is a woman, a person of color, or LGBTQ+. People who, just like her, were constantly being underestimated. Her success is the ultimate proof that this idea works. She started with literally nothing but the will to learn, built up this massive reserve of intellectual capital, and then she converted it directly into actual real-world capital that's now changing hundreds of other people's lives. So, why are we talking about this? Because this isn't just a cool story about Arlan. It's a blueprint. It's a method that pretty much anyone can start using, like today. So, how can you do this? It's really a pretty simple 4-step plan. First, you've got to choose your subject. What do you want to master? Then, dedicate yourself to learning a little bit every single day. Consistency is everything. Third, just use what's available. You don't need expensive courses. Just start with what's free. And finally, you build confidence. Every little bit of information you pick up becomes an advantage you can use. And let's be honest, there are 0 excuses not to start. The knowledge is literally everywhere, and so much of it is completely free. We're talking YouTube, podcasts, blogs, you name it. The tools you need to build your own intellectual capital are already in your pocket. I want to leave you with this last thought from Arlan Hamilton because it's just perfect. The path to becoming the asset, to building your own value from the ground up, it all starts with one simple thing: getting information. So the only real question is, what are you going to start mastering today?